You know, what I'm about to say in the beginning of this video, if you go view on my other channel the video that I produced on the haves and the have-nots, you will hear a little bit concerning what I'm about to say at the beginning of this video. But I felt the need to reiterate it here because, again, it's very pertinent. And I want to say, for those of you who continue to come to my channel and view my videos, and you don't like the delivery, or you don't like the fact that you appear to be hearing the same thing over and over again, maybe in different ways, in different videos, allow me to say this to you. And I covered this in the other video that I put on my other channel, but I think this is important for this. No professor worth their salt will give a research paper to a student, and then have that student turn the paper in, and then upon reading the paper, the professor reads what the student states as their hypothesis. I look to prove this in this paper. And then the remaining pages of that paper, be it 5, 10, 15, 20 page paper, seeks to support their hypothesis with documentation. No professor worth their salt will turn that paper back to that student and say, you failed to complete the assignment. In all actuality, what they would do is probably give the student an A and congratulate them on a job well done. I say all that to say this. In these classic, irrefutable, groundbreaking videos, I presented a hypothesis. And I told you people that the Negro race was going backwards. And every video that I have produced has supported my hypothesis and my premise. None have been deconstructed. And in this video here is just another classic example of how the Negro race, is on a steady decline. Last night at the Billboard Music Awards, many of you probably seen it. You've seen a performance by Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj. What I would classify as a minstrel show. And for the fact that Black America is silent about the negative depiction that was displayed at this show, lets you know just where the Negro race is. Now again, before any of you lames want to come to me and say, well, you know, that don't apply to all black women. Again, I don't think that's something that needs to be stated. For the African American female who brought this to my attention, because I don't watch that garbage, but for the African American female who contacted me and asked me, did I see this filth? Further explained to me that she brought her 9-year-old daughter into the room, and she wanted her daughter to view this so that she can use it as a teachable moment of what not to do as a young woman. And because of the way that she's rearing her child, her daughter didn't even want to watch this garbage. And in fact, she said, that's what her daughter said, I don't want to watch this filth. Walked out the room. But you people, the majority of you people, not only watched it, you embraced it, you condoned it, you become co-conspirators with it, and this is the reason why. I've said it and I'll continue to say it. How in the world do you Negroes get upset with me for using the term savage, for using the term coon, for saying that you Negroes are dysfunctional? When you look at that Billboard Music Award show and you've seen Lil Wayne, who if anybody fulfills the definition of a coon, he does. When you've seen the actions of Nicki Minaj, and if anybody depicts the definition of a whore, a ratchet female with no class, she does. But yet and still, you Negroes, not only do you support this filth, you have become co-conspirators with this filth. And you support it, you back it, you co-sign it because you buy the music, you support the artists. And this is most troubling for a race of people. Because what you Negroes don't understand is that this is the way the world views you. For you Negro men, they view you like Lil Wayne. This is the reason why the corporate sponsors for the Billboard Music Award didn't pull their sponsorship. You don't hear no talk of them saying, you know what, that was over the top, we're not going to support this. No, they're not going to say that. You're not going to hear any of those sponsors say we're not going to support a show where a woman is twerking her ass, bending over like she's fingering herself on the world stage for everyone to view. And the reason why this is okay, the reason why that this is condoned, is because this is the way they see you people. And y'all just don't understand it. Y'all don't see that this is one of the reasons why this race is in decline. At the turn of the century, when the great film by W.D. Griffith, The Birth of a Nation, when that film came out, black people were enraged. They considered it negative. They said it was not a proper portrayal of African Americans or Negroes at that time. They said the film was demeaning to black people because the film depicted blacks, and the roles were played by blacks. The roles were played by white people in blackface. But the black community organized and protested this film because they said this is a negative. And we can't allow this image to be projected of us at a time when we're trying to clean up our act and present ourselves as respectable men and women for the world to see. So they boycotted that film. But you Negroes don't boycott this filth. You Negroes co-sign it and become co-conspirators with it. And the reason why you do that is because you like it. The only thing you don't like is when someone comes to you and tells you that you're a coon. Then you get offended. But yet and still, you support coon artists. If someone comes to a black female and says she's a ratchet whore, she's up in arms. Yet and still, she supports a ratchet whore on the world stage. This is what is most hypocritical about you people. Because if you take Lil Wayne and you take Nicki Minaj and you paint them and make them be white artists who did that filth, you Negroes would be in the street. You Negroes would be demanding apology. You Negroes would be protesting. Messy Jackson, Al Sharpton would pop up on the scene giving press conferences. They would have made their rounds on all the morning talk shows talking about how this is racist, how this is a racist depiction of black women, how this is a racist depiction of black men. But since these two artists are black, shh, you Negroes don't say nothing. Because as long as it's black, you give it a pass. And this is what makes you most hypocritical. And this is the same for all you Negroes on YouTube. All you Captain Save-A-Hole Negroes and all of you shines who come to my page and have called me an Uncle Tom, have called me a sellout for things that I merely say about the Afro-American Negro. I have been depicted in some of the most negative names imaginable for just merely saying this. Well, if I'm a sellout, if I'm a race traitor for things that I say, then what do you classify Lil Wayne as? And Nicki Minaj? What do you classify these other entertainers who sets the race back 400 years with their debauchery and their minstrel behavior? If you're going to call somebody a sellout for merely saying this stuff, then surely you should have a record of going out, going after these individuals, calling them race traitors for the things that they actually do on the world stage, not on YouTube, not in a blog, but on the world stage, broadcasted on the four corners of the globe. And you Negroes don't see anything wrong with it. You Negroes support it. You Negroes are co-conspirators with it. And this is the reason why your insults against me don't have no bite to them. And I told you Negroes, and I said this in my other video, show me an email, produce for me a tweet, show me a letter that you've written to the Billboard Academy, or that you've written to these artists, or that you've written to these record labels. Show me one. I want to see it. Because if you are such a defender of black people on YouTube, then surely you have to have a record of letters that you sent to these TV shows that are degrading the black women, that paints them as whores, i.e. Scandal. You have to have a record of letters that you sent to record companies and producers who produce these artists, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, just to name a few. You got to have all this because you're such a defender of black femininity on YouTube. Because you produce response videos if somebody just says something negative about a black woman. If someone just says something negative about black people, here you come with a response video calling them an Uncle Tom. Yet you can't produce one piece of documentation where you have gone after the likes on a grander scale who degrade the black race, who set the race back 400 years with their behavior and their debauchery. You remain silent by it, and by your silence, by the mere fact you remain silent on it, you condone it. That's right. Yeah. And it reminds me of what Sergeant Waters, in that great film, one of my favorite movies, A Soldier Story, where the great Sergeant Waters told CJ, and this is what I would tell Nicki Minaj, this is what I would tell Lil Wayne, a host of athletes, entertainers, politicians, pastors, you Negroes in the hood. If I could get all of y'all in one location, this is what I would tell y'all. The day of the Geechee is gone, and you need to go with it. We can't let nobody go on believing we are fools like you. And that's just the way it is. You Negroes, by your silence of this filth, have condoned it. You support it. You support Lil Wayne. You support Nicki Minaj. And as Sergeant Waters says, we can't let nobody go on believing we are fools like you. You people have got to come to a point where you regain control of your image to the world. And until you do that, you're going to always be seen as a violent, prone, minstrel-ass coon walking around with a bunch of tattoos, a dysfunctional, marginalized deviant who does nothing but have sex and produce out-of-wedlock babies and creates mayhem, violence, and bloodshed in their community, i.e. your Lil Waynes. Or you sisters ain't going to be seen as nothing but big butt, booty clapping, booty twerking heifers with a hair full of fake hair, a head full of fake hair, running around showing off the only thing that you have of value. And that is your ass. And when I say that you Negroes need to step up to the plate and confront this head on, I'm not talking about them Negroes in the hood. Because those Negroes in the hood, your hood rats and your petty thugs and drug dealers, they don't have the intellect to confront this. I'm talking about you college-educated Negroes. You Negro women with your master's degree, your PhDs, and your advanced degrees working in corporate America, and you want to sit there and say, well, you know, because I don't listen to Nicki Minaj, this doesn't apply to me. Well, yes, it does. And for you Negroes who say in your suit and tie and your Allen Edmonds shoes and you got your nice shirt and tie on, I have no problem with that. You look nice. Nice suit, nice shoes. I love Allen Edmonds. But for you Negroes who think because you don't listen to this filth, that's not applying to you, it does. And this is the reason why this image is projected all over the world. Because you Negroes have not stood to the plate and dealt with the true Uncle Toms, the true sellouts, the true race traders, the people that you really need to be confronting. You're not confronting. You're wasting your time with the Tea Party or other people who have different views on Barack Hussein Obama. You calling them racist when the true racists performed at that Billboard Music Award last night. The true individuals who's trying to set the black race back, Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, and others like them. But you Negroes don't confront them. You give them a pass because they're black. And this, once again, supports my hypothesis that I presented to you people ever since I started doing these videos that can't be refuted. Your race is in decline, Negro. And last night was another clear example shown for the entire world to view how dysfunctional, how backwards, how oversexed you people really are. And you don't say anything, and by your silence, you condone it. It is what it is.